But anyway, so it is what it is. So I'll just watch for people jumping in here. But okay, so we're gonna talk about habits. Because habits, I know. So we all have good habits. We all have bad habits. We have bad habits that we want to make good habits and all that. So this is going to be the first of a couple series, a series more about habits. But so I've read a book called Atomic Habits.
Okay.
The author is James Clear. It's really a good book when you talk about habits. It's an easy read. I've learned a lot. I have some excerpts. Oh, Cheryl's in. I have some information from that book that I want to share with you too. So if you do read it, it might be, you might have heard this before, but it makes a lot of sense. So yeah, so that's a really good book, Atomic Habits. Again, easy to read. So, hey, Cheryl. Hi. We're talking about habits.
Good, the bad, the ugly.
Yeah, all the good habits and the bad habits that we have. You can hear me, Cheryl? Okay, cool. So what I was just saying to Jody too, the book called Atomic Habits, if you haven't read it, it's a good one. Very
I'm reading it now.
What's that?
I'm reading it right now. I'm about halfway through.
Good. James Clear, he's awesome. He actually does have a lot of articles too out there, and I stole some of his information because it's super important. And I still work on habits that I need to change, and this has really helped me a lot. So our life is essentially the sum of habits, right?
Yes,
it is. That's how we grew up with habits. We make our own habits. We have good habits, bad habits, all that kind of stuff. And so how we are, like if we're happy or unhappy, it's because of habits that we have. It's a result of those habits. If we're successful or unsuccessful, however we want to phrase that, it's a result of our habits. The same way as if we're in shape or we're out of shape, it's a result of our habits. So what you repeatedly do, you ultimately forms the person that you are. So we talk about habits, but it's also your identity. So they kind of go hand in hand. So it's like the things that you believe, it's your personality that you portray. It's based on habits that you do. You don't even know the habits you have until you start thinking about it. And you'll be thinking about those as I talk here. And if you want to improve those habits, you want to form new habits, keep some of the same habits you have because they're not bad, right? How do you go about it? How do you change those habits? Well, there's a framework that James Clear talks about. And I don't know if you're in that part of the book yet, Cheryl, but it's a really good framework. And it makes a lot of sense to me. And it starts from little on. And so how he describes it is there's 4 simple steps to a habit. Now, of course, you're not thinking about that as you're developing them, but when you want to change them, right, that's when you start thinking about it, right? It's like, well, how did that happen? So there's the 4 are C-U-E, like it's cueing you in. A craving is the second stage. Response is the third, and then reward is the fourth. And your brain actually runs through all this. You just don't know it is doing it. Every time you're doing something like putting your shoes on, what shoe do you put on first? Right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's just all those kinds of things. Or when you're getting up, do you brush your teeth first? Do you do your hair first? You know, you kind of do things in succession, the same order. So the cue is the first, and that triggers your brain to initiate a behavior. And so it's a tiny bit of information that is predicting a reward. Okay. So like when you think about years and years ago, our ancestors were paying attention to cues that signaled things like food, like where is the food, where is the water, you know, that kind of thing. So our cues could be losing weight leads to what? Or feeling, you know, better sleep leads to what? What's that reward? So that's just an example. But back then it was about food, water, shelter, all that kind of stuff. We spend a lot of our time these days that it's more like secondary rewards. It's money, fame, power, praise, approval, love, right? Friendship.
Mhm.
And the biggest one is a sense of personal satisfaction. That's the one I really kind of honed in on. Not that I don't think about, like money, because we have to survive. But so something like feeling better in our clothes,
Right.
sleeping better, those are all like cues. Some of those pursuits really indirectly improve our odds of survival. So if we want to fit better in our clothes and sleep better, it's going to lead to longevity. So how long are we going to survive? Now, we're not always thinking about that, but that's, as you're breaking down habits, that's part of it. So our mind is always looking for internal and external like hints. And it's all based on a reward. What are we going to get for that habit? We always want to get something. So the next parts, because the cue is the first indication that we're getting close to that reward. Like, I'm thinking I need to lose weight. Then you start to think, what's the next thing? It's a craving. That's the second step. So there's always that level of motivation when you get to that step. Without that craving for a change, there's no reason to make that a habit or to act on that habit. There's got to be a craving for that. So the craving is actually not the habit itself. It's the change in state it delivers. So, and then Jody, you can identify with this. You do not crave smoking a cigarette. You crave the feeling of relief it provides, or it provided for you.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Yep.
It's that. And you're not motivated by brushing your teeth, but you like the way it feels after you brush your teeth.
Yes.
These are some examples that he gives. When you turn the TV on, you're not like excited about turning the TV on. You're excited about the movie that you want to watch, or the show, or the series, or whatever. So you may not crave exercise, but the feeling after.
I do.
Right? The feeling.
Yeah. The feeling
I don't
after, the way it
crave
makes
doing
me
this.
feel. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, if you think about it, sometimes most of the time I like to exercise because I know what it's going to lead to. So that's that habit that's formed for me, and it's forming that way for you guys too.
Yes.
It's interesting, but the cravings differ person to person too, right? So people aren't motivated by the same cues. It might be something different that's motivating you to exercise. It might be because if you don't lose weight and exercise, you're going to have to go on insulin. That could be your, craving, right?
Right.
So, like for a gambler, like if you hear slot machines going off, they're sparked by that. But I'm not a gambler, so that stuff drives me crazy. So that I'm not motivated by that, right? So it's different for different people. So your thoughts, your feelings, and your emotions are what transfer that cue that you get into that craving like you want it, right? So that's the second part. The third step is the response. So the response is really the actual habit that you're performing. Okay. So if an action requires more physical or mental effort than you're willing to expend, then you're not going to do it. So you have to really, really want it. So that, for an example, he gives here, which makes the sense, like if you want to take a basketball and do a dunk, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you can't jump high enough to do it, then you're kind of out of luck. So it has to be in reach. It has to be associated with that behavior. So the response is that actual habit that you get. So it depends on how motivated you are. And that's the thing, has to be that self-motivation. And that's that whole other talk about motivation. So, so finally the response, it delivers a reward. And so reward is that last part. And so rewards are the end goal of every habit. So if your habit is to get up and exercise, your reward is it feels good or whatever that is for you, right? You're dropping inches, you're sleeping better, the scale is going down, all that, you're getting toned, those kinds of things. The cue is about noticing the reward. The craving is about wanting the reward, and the response is about obtaining it. So you don't always think about these 4 processes unless you're trying to break that down. So that's why this book is so important, to embed these habits that you're trying to change or make for yourself. So we chase rewards. So we're going after those rewards. There's really 2 purposes for that. The first one is satisfaction. They're going to satisfy us, and then they teach us. So both things, very interesting. So obviously the first purpose is satisfying your cravings. So food and water give you energy, and you need that to survive, right? Getting a promotion brings you more money and respect. Getting in shape improves your health and maybe your dating prospects, if you're into that. Jody's like, no, I'm not. Cheryl, I don't know if you are.
Around here.
Yeah. But more immediate benefit is that rewards satisfy your craving to eat or to gain status or to win approval, right? So that's your craving. You may not want dating prospects, but you want your health for the most part.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So it teaches us which actions are worth remembering in the future. So your brain is a reward detector. So as you go about your life, your central nervous system is really monitoring what actions satisfy your desires and deliver your pleasure, right? So, there's feelings of pleasure and there's feelings of disappointment in that feedback mechanism. So the feelings of pleasure would be that feeling that you get after your workout. So it feels good, so it makes you want to work out more, right? All that kind of stuff. So what it says here, though, is if a behavior is insufficient in any of those 4 stages, it's not going to become a habit. So you have to have all 4 of those in order for it to become a habit. So that's when you think about it, when women, especially, we want to lose 50 pounds, we want to do it like tomorrow, that's not going to happen, right? And so your cues, your rewards, all of that is not in place for that. But the 5 pounds is very doable and makes sense, and that's why we like to chunk that up a little bit and do it that way. Same with your eating. It's a process to learn how to eat healthy. It's a process to learn how to figure out your proteins, your carbs and your fats. And it's a process. And you have to really want that. What's the cue? You want to lose weight, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And what's the next step? I just already forgot it. I'm losing my mind. The craving, right? The craving, and then the response, and then the reward. If you don't have those things, it's not going to happen. So it's real interesting. I mean, I really have learned a lot from his book. And so I thought this would be a really good topic and make a little bit of a series out of it to talk about that, because unless you have a habit or you're changing a habit, it's not going to stick. And I talk about lifestyle habits, right? And changing those and making them stick, but they also have to be within your reach. And they have to be sustainable, and doable, right? Otherwise, it's not going to work. So it's super interesting when you start reading that. So, so if you reduce the craving, you're not going to experience enough motivation to make it happen. If you make it difficult, you won't be able to do it.
Right.
Right. So just the way it goes. And so it's called the habit loop. So cue, craving, reward, response, or response, reward. Sorry. So check that out in his book. So I wanted to talk a little bit more. Does that all make sense?
Yes.
That you have to? Okay. All right. Ultimately, you want to make those habits automatic. Not that you're thinking about them. when you're starting a new habit, you have to think about it a little bit more. But
Right.
that's why if you know a little bit about this process and how it works, you can start to understand why it takes a little bit of time. We're going to talk the next time about how long does it take you to change habits or to make those habits stick. And it's a process. I don't know if you've ever heard it takes 21 days to change a behavior. It takes longer.
Yeah.
Minimum.
Boy, does it.
Yeah. Or 21 days to, it's a start to on your health journey, but you're not going to lose 20 pounds in 21 days.
Right.
That's not,
No.
you could if you're not eating much, that kind of thing, but still, anyway. So what I wanted to do is cover some examples of what it looks like in real life, so this will help kind of make it stick. All right, so you're sitting at your desk, and I know this happens to you guys. So your phone buzzes with the text message. That's a cue, right? So what's the craving?
You want to know what it says?
Right, right. What's the response?
You look at your phone.
Grab it, right? And then the reward is, oh, you think
The
about
car warranty is expired again.
right. It's so, yeah, it's crazy. All right, so let's do another one. All right, you smell a donut shop as you walk down the street near your office or you're at home. That's a cue, right? You're smelling that. So what's the craving?
Do you want to eat a donut?
Or the
I know, Cheryl, about you and donuts. Remember your dad came and you bought him some donuts?
Yes. He kept asking about donut. Where's the donuts?
Right.
Sorry.
So, okay, the craving is you begin to crave a donut, like, oh my God, that smells so good. So what's the response?
You eat a donut.
Buy it and you eat it, right? And then the reward is
don't
You
eat
feel
it.
like crap afterwards.
yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, so I mean, those are just some examples. Or here's one that's not so like, okay, so the cue is you wake up in the morning. What's your craving?
Oh,
Could be
coffee.
different.
Coffee for me.
Yeah, so you want to feel alert. That would be your craving, like, oh, I got to wake up, right? Drink a cup of coffee would be your response. And then the reward is, feels good to drink that nice warm cup of coffee, and you wake up. You can do that with a lot of different things. So.
Caffeine addiction.
Yeah, right. Another one of those habits. So your brain is always scanning that environment, predicting what's going to happen, all of that. And we don't even, like I said, it just happens in like these split seconds, right? So like you walk into a dark room, you flip the light on, you do a habit, like you're getting dressed, you put your makeup on, whatever it is, and you do those stages in just like fractions of seconds, right? So by the time, we're kids, we develop these habits, we don't even notice that we have those habits. Right. Until we want to change it. Like, oh my gosh, I can't be up till midnight. How do I change that? Right. And so I'm more of a night owl, and I know you guys know this about me. I struggle with getting to bed and at a decent time and then getting up. I'm doing a lot better. This last week I was in bed at 9:30.
Ooh, good for you.
For me. And then I was able to get out of bed without complaining too much, like I got up within 15 minutes of my alarm. So it's that mental programming that you slip into those patterns. And so now we gotta change it. So now what do we do? Where do we go from here? So, so there's 4 laws of the behavior change that he goes through too. So how do you create a good habit? The first thing is you make it obvious. That's how you create a good habit. You make it obvious. What is that cue?
Gotcha.
Second thing, which is the craving, is you make it attractive. Make it look good, make it sound good, make it feel good.
Okay.
The third, which is your response, is make it easy. So you start off exercising, make it obvious, your cue. It's like, I have to feel better. I feel bloated. I feel fat. Craving, make it attractive. If I could lose 10 pounds, I would feel so much better. I would sleep, whatever it is. And then make it easy. Instead of saying, I'm going to work out 5 days a week right off the bat, I'm going to start with 2 days a week or 3 days a week, right? Every other day. And then make it satisfying. What's the reward? If I can work out 3 days this week, I'm going to buy myself a new pair of leggings or something. You know, make it satisfying, a reward. What did you say?
Ice cream.
Ice cream, yeah. You know what? And if you do an ice cream, it's not like you're doing it every single day, right? So there is a way to celebrate that. So that's how you build on making good habits. So how do you break it? How do you break a bad habit? The first thing you want to do is make it so, like, to create a good habit, you made it obvious. The second thing, to break a bad habit, you make it invisible. Put the cigarettes away. Don't even have them in your house, right?
Yep. What I did.
So
Got rid of the ashtray.
right, right. So you make it invisible. Second thing, which is that craving, make it unattractive. Yeah. If I continue to smoke, my breath is going to smell. My teeth are going to be yellow. I'm going to have wrinkles. Everything, right? The third thing, response, make it difficult. Again, don't have anybody go get them for you. Just keep them out of the house. And then the fourth reward, make it unsatisfying. If I keep smoking, I'm going to end up with lung cancer or have this or that, or, you know, my kids won't want to come visit. I won't be able to see my granddaughter, that kind of thing. So, and you can do that with a lot of different things. So for me, okay, I'm gonna go and be totally transparent with you guys. So I have a wine cooler here in my kitchen. And we've been ordering a case of 12 bottles, not like a case is 24, but 12 bottles of wine, almost like every month. That's a lot of wine bottles, right? So I've decided that there's like a half of a bottle in there right now. That's it. There's a couple whites in there, but I'm not a white, so that's not even a craving for me. I'm not buying any this month.
Good for you.
Because then I won't be there making me want to go grab it because it's not there. It's just like having chips or anything like that. I just don't have it in the house. So I'm making it invisible. Making unattractive would be, I don't want to have that pound on the scale in the morning. I don't feel sluggish in the morning because I've got this and that to do. Make it difficult. It's not there. I can't get it. Like, I could go to the liquor store, but that means I have to go and do it. I'm not going to do that.
It's a lot more effort.
It's more effort, right? Make it unsatisfying. So that rewarded, it would be, I will not be true to myself if I do that. Like, I am going to, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, but not
your authentic self.
Not follow. It's kind of like I tell you guys and help you guys change habits. So I need to do the same thing because I have bad habits too. And that's one of them. We have liquor and stuff, but that's not my thing. So whenever you want to change your behavior, just ask yourself, how can I make it obvious to make it happen? How can I make it attractive? Like, I really want to do this, and just like buying a car, right?
Yeah.
How can I make it easy? And then how can I make it satisfying? That is to change your behavior. Okay. Obviously there's lots of different ways to change human behavior. But those are, I really like how he puts it because it's a framework. It's steps. They're very doable. It's not like I got to take a course and learn how to do it and make it really difficult to do. So have you ever wondered to yourself, and I know I have, why do I do what I say? Why don't I do what I say I'm going to do? Have you ever asked yourself?
Well, these habits, we have like neural pathways that
Yes.
are pathways that are ingrained in our brain. And
Yep.
this is how we've always behaved or what we've always done. So in
Very
order
true.
to to do something different, you have to build new pathways. And it takes a while to get there.
It
It
does.
takes
And
practice.
yeah, and that's why I find that this information, how he puts it, is so helpful because it helps you understand what you have to do. I mean, I'm sure you guys have, I mean, I have, you know, why don't I lose the weight or stop smoking or save for retirement? Or why do I say something is important, but I don't make time for it?
Right.
So like my husband and I, we both run our own businesses, and we always keep saying to each other, we need to spend a whole day working together. Do we ever do it? No, because he's doing his thing, I'm doing my thing, and we have to go and break down these steps and make that happen. Yeah, so we all have our stuff, right? So I think, and he says too, that creating good habits and breaking bad ones, it's really important to understand the phases that you go through. Because we all do it. And like you said too, Cheryl, it's years of the same habits, same identity. And it, like you said, it's the pathways too that we've developed. It always, you know, if you want to change behavior, but you don't change the process, it's not going to happen. So every goal is doomed to fail if it goes against the grain of human nature. So you have to really make a point in making it stick, and really, and wanting it, and how bad do you want it, and are you really willing to make those changes?
Right.
So it, you know, it makes a lot of sense. So what I want to do in the next couple of weeks is just add on to this with more of his information, kind of in my own words, but taking some of his examples, because he spells it out really easy. And so read that book, or get it, use it audio if you want, like audio books. I like audio when I'm driving, but I also like to have the hard copy too, because if I listen to it and read it, it really sticks. That's kind of, or you can even do them at the same time, listen and read it. Obviously not while you're driving, but that would be a bad habit.
Try. That's not
You
a good
could try.
habit to have.
Yeah. So yeah. So hopefully that was helpful, just to kind of help you think about those stages and how habits work. Because we all have habits that we need to alter or get rid of, and we want to make new habits that last that lifetime. But they have to be easy too, up to a point, and you also have to really want them to. You really have to want that change. If you don't want it and you're not invested in it, it's not going to happen.
Nope.
Because there'll be excuses for it not to happen.
Oh, absolutely.
So, and we all have those too. So hopefully that was helpful.
Yes.
And
Yes.
cool. And we'll do some more, another kind of section of habits next week, Monday.
Okay.
All right. You guys have a good night. If you have any questions after you're done, I will be posting this as soon as it gets downloaded and all that good stuff. So, all right. Have a good one.
Thank
See guys.
you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.